Go.
Greetings. My name is Akbar, and I'm a storyteller, puppeteer. And usually when I go out, I open the door so that all the stories I have to tell would just flow right in. But today I'm giving birth, I'm being conceptualizing a new idea. And I've been riding around on MARTA, and ideas that's been floating through my head. And the ironic thing is, I'm riding on MARTA because my car is down. But the irony is, when I ride the train, I get to interact with the people, and then I get to read a lot, and also I get a lot of ideas. So I have about 2 notebooks where I grab ideas, and the other day I started thinking, actually it goes back to a workshop, and they did a workshop at the library during the Ashley Bryan Children's Literary Festival. And they did a workshop on portraying historical characters. No, portraying historical women. And so I went to the workshop, and it was very great, man. They introduced us to some sisters who I'd never heard of. Like actually the first lady who sat down on the bus in Montgomery. Well, Rosa Parks wasn't the first, but as a part of a collective strategy of the NAACP, they made her the face of the movement. But the actual first lady was a young teenage girl by the name of Colette Colvin, C-O-L-V-I-N. But anyway, at this presentation about portraying historical women, I was sitting there and I said, how can I as a man tell these stories? And the librarian just gave me some ideas. And since that point, I've been thinking, I know I was on a program actually with a lady that did Zora Neale Hurston. And I know I can't be Zora Neale, and I can't be Colette Colvin, and I can't be Rosa Parks. But as a brother, as a man, I can talk about how what they did impacted me. And that brings me to Zora Neale Hurston. I read lots of Zora Neale Hurston's book, and in this festival, I got a chance to tell one of her stories. It's a wonderful little story called Roy Makes a Car. Just a tall tale, the kind of stories that I heard when I was a boy, that the men would tell, actually people would call a lie. Just like, oh man, you just lying, or you just telling a lie, which is just a big story. And so what I want to do is I want to tell you a story called Roy Makes a Car. And this book, this is Zora Neale Hurston's story. Actually, she collected it, and another lady named Mary Lyons has published it in a real big, pretty children's book. And in her book, she mentions this book. And I was in the library earlier today looking for some North African folk tales, and I found this book, and the original version of Roy Makes a Car is here. So I checked it out, and what I'm doing for you today is the initial story, an initial birth, initial seed planting of a project that I'll probably have read in about 6 months called The Stories of Zora Neale Hurston, as performed by yours truly. Roy Makes a Car. Now, you see, some folks say that Roy was one of the best mechanics in all of Central Florida. They said that boy could grease an axle by the time you say carburetor. Can you say carburetor? Yeah, but I know a lot of you out there don't even know what a carburetor is, but that's the thing that the gas goes through, and the air mixes with the gas, and it goes down into the spark plugs and keeps the engine running. But believe it or not, they don't even have those on newer cars. They have something called that airflow meter sensor these days, but that's a whole nother story. They say that Roy could grease an axle by the time as quick as you can say carburetor. They say he could clean a spark plug just by looking at it. But what Roy wanted to do more than anything in the world, he wanted to make a car that would never run out of gas, never break down, and never be an accident. And the people laughed at Roy. But Roy went and got some books on automotive mechanics, went into his little garage, his little shed out behind his house. He read those books, and Roy designed him a car. Well, when Roy rolled his car out, all the neighbors came out to see it, but believe it or not, it didn't look too much different from any cars. And they said, Roy, you waste all that time, and this car looked like just every car around here. Roy said, it may look like it, but this is an accident-proof car. Now, there was a gambler in Roy's town who who bet Roy that his car couldn't do diddly squat. And Roy accepted his challenge. Now, the first thing they did was they went and got a Chrysler, 8-cylinder Chrysler. And they got on one side of the curb and Roy got on the other. And when that Chrysler came towards Roy, Roy hit a switch and his car went right around that Chrysler. Boom, no accident. Well, now they roll out a 6-cylinder Chevy. The Chevy over here and Roy over here. Well, they was both coming around the curve, and when they got going head on, Roy pressed the button and his car elevated up and went right over that 6-cylinder Chevy. Well, people says, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Roy's gonna win this bet. So the gambler told someone to go and get a Mack truck, you know, with the elevated cab and everything. Roy wouldn't be able to elevate up over it. So the Mack truck, it was coming right towards Roy. And what Roy did this time is he flipped another switch and his car went down and went up underneath the truck. Well, the people cheered. They had never seen nothing like that. Well, the gambler, he was bound and determined not to lose his bet. So he went and got his Roadmaster Buick that set low to the ground because he just figured there was no way Roy was going to go up under that Roadmaster Buick. Well, he got on one side, Roy got on the other. They drove towards each other. Roy hit a couple switch and his car got flat as a pancake. Went right up underneath the Buick. He hit those switches and the car came back up to its natural size. Where everybody cheered Roy and everything. And that gambler told Roy that he could probably sell that car and get him a bucket of money. Well, Roy listened to him, went over to the next town, sold that car, got him a bucket of money, came back, gave it all to his wife, except for a few dollars that he used to kind of treat himself. Well, after a few weeks went by, Roy got tired of fishing. He decided to make him another car. Well, this time he went into his little shed. He worked about 3 or 4 weeks, and he came out with a car that looked kind of like the other one, but this one had metal wings, collapsible wings on it. And I said wings, but I actually meant flaps. So what would happen was, when he would press a button, the collapsible wings would come out and Roy's car would take flight. Well, now, if Roy was coming towards something to avoid an accident, he'd hit those wings and the car would either fly up over it or fly out the way. Well, Roy got so used to that, he stopped driving the car around on the roads and started driving his car, or I should say flying around up in the air. And this is where one lady got shocked in the story because God saw Roy flying around in his car. And God was impressed with that Roy-mobile. He called Roy over and invited and offered Roy some money for the car. Well, Roy accepted the offer, and I should say that God gave him a ton of money because he wanted that Roy-mobile for his angels. Well, Roy got that ton of money, came back to his world, and what happened was God took and made that made Roy-mobiles for his angels. Not up in heaven. They say the angels don't fly around no more because they're flying around in the Roy-mobile. Now back down on earth, Roy brought that ton of money and he opened up a whole lot of auto mechanic shops so the young people could learn how to repair cars and stuff. And the last thing I heard about Roy was in the early days of the James Bond movies. They brought Roy in to be a consultant to help make those fancy cars for James Bond and whatnot. Now, I don't know how true it is, but that's the way the story came to me, and that's the way I'll give it to you. And it's all based on a story that was collected by not yours truly, but Miss Zora Neale Hurston. And I thank you for listening, and be ready for stories of Zora Neale Hurston as performed by yours truly. And if you'd like to know more about what I do, visit me at akbarstories.com. That's akbarstories.com. Or you can give me a call at 404-468-3392. Thank you.